Well, hey there, Changemakers. Welcome to the Dare to Begin Small and Mighty podcast. I'm your host, Amy Van Meel, and I'm here to inspire and teach changemakers like you, entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, and people who are doing big things in the world, some tips, tricks, things about business, and we're doing some personal growth on the way. With that, let's dive into today's topic. Well, hey there, Changemakers. I'm pumped that you're here with me today. And if you've been listening to my podcast on the regular, first of all, let me just give you a big shout out. I appreciate you doing that. And second of all, you might notice there's a little more energy in my voice, in how I'm coming through to you today. So I've been in the process of an enormous launch. It's these past 6 months, probably longer than that. I've been doing things that I did not know or dream of being possible for myself. And it's been crazy. It's been a crazy adventure. It's been a huge learning experience. It's been exhausting in every possible way. But it's been really good. So you might be noticing that extra energy, and that's because I feel like I've walked through holy fire and I'm coming out the other side. So I feel good. I'm pumped to be here with you guys today, and I'm really excited. I've been crazy busy, and I've been focusing on content. So I've got the next 4 months planned for you guys. If you knew what was on the calendar, you'd be excited as I am. So I'm going to jump right into today's topic. Today, I want to talk with you about 3 powerful profit strategies for your business. Now, listen up, especially if you're a service-based entrepreneur, all right? I want you to pay extra close attention here. Now, the reason that I want especially my service-based entrepreneurs to pay extra close attention is that Often we have a way of thinking that we deliver our services in a very specific way. It's how it's been modeled to us by other people in the industry or what we've become comfortable with from whenever we've started. So what I'm going to share with you today might push the boundaries a little bit. So I want you to be open. The other thing that I want you to consider is that what I'm going to share with you today can blow your business wide open, man. Like, I'm not kidding. The strategies that I'm going to share with you today are taken from my number 1 profit producing strategy. So if you're like, I don't know about this, I don't know if it's going to work, I promise you it will, because you're going to find out why. Your focus is going to be possibly somewhere else than you thought. And I'm really excited to share this with you. So let's dive in. So 3 powerful profit strategies. Here is number 1. Focus on your client's success. Now that one might seem really obvious. You're like, well, Amy, of course I'm focused on my client's success. I mean, what else am I doing? The truth is that a lot of us get stuck in the doing of our services. If you have a product-based business, you're focused on the selling of your product. So product-based businesses, listen up real close. This is for you. Lots of products, I would say most, if not all products, come with a list of features and benefits that you can explain to your customers. Yes? Most people, especially when you're new, and especially if you haven't had a chance to try all the products, or like you're a woman and you're selling products that are tailored for men, then you can't. So we tend to rely on the features and benefits that are given to us by the manufacturer. Here's the thing. The truth is that no matter how good the features and benefits are, every single one of us is always wondering, what's in it for me? Right? I know you've got to have heard this before. And if you haven't, I'm telling you now, every person on the planet is all about what's in it for me. Every single one of us. I'm the same. You're the same. That's how we operate as human beings. So when I say that you need to focus on your client's success, what I mean is think about the client in particular that you're talking to, that you are there to serve. because even though we all have very similar, desires in the sense of like the overall human race wants to have, X desires, we want to know that we're special. We want to know that we're heard. We want to know that whatever you're offering, that service that you're offering, that product that you're offering is going to work for us and our unique situation, right? So I want you, both of you, service-based, product-based businesses, serve your clients. You are always focusing on their success. Focus on their success, not your bottom line. Focus on their success, not what you want from them. Focus on their success, not how will this grow you forward. It's always about focusing on their success. So, service-based businesses. If you're something like coaches, okay, let me just say I love coaches, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity for me to share some of this. So, most coaches, let's say all coaches, are about helping their clients achieve a certain goal. Yeah? When you are focused on the client's goal, you're thinking about what the client wants. But here's where it tends to get messed up. Because we're the expert, because we're the one that they're coming to for guidance or advice or whatever, then we tend to think that we know what's best for them based on whatever our knowledge or experience, expertise is. What that does when we bring the focus back on what we know, what we do, is that we have removed ourselves from the focus of our client's success. So I want you to always, always, always come back to going and saying, okay, how will this serve my client best? I'm here to serve. How am I serving my client? All right. So profit strategy number 1 is focus on your client's success. And those of you who are selling products might be wondering a little bit like, how do I focus on that, Amy? If I'm not using the features and benefits from the product, how do I bring this out for the client so that I can sell the product, because at the end of the day, we got to make money, but how do I focus on their success? So let me share with you, there's a skincare line, I'm not going to name names, but there's a skincare line that I've been introduced to a few years ago, and I use a few of their products. Like pretty much every skincare line on the planet, they have, it's like a 5 or 6 step system for, I'm air quoting here, taking care of your skin. Now, where I live is like the desert out here. I couldn't believe when I moved out here. I felt like I was going through lotion like crazy. And then somebody pointed out, well, you are going through lotion like crazy because we live in a semi-arid climate. Climate. So I'm like, oh, all right, that makes sense. But here's the thing. The skincare line, the 5 steps or the 6 steps, whatever it was built based on whatever climate that they would have targeted it in. And partly also the idea of like, okay, everybody needs these 5 or 6 steps. So I bought into it at first. I bought into like, okay, well, let's see, how this works. And I realized after a while, and I don't remember who I was talking to. I was like, maybe it was a beauty counter or something. And I was talking about the products that I used. And they said, so first of all, this product that you've talked about, do you have an issue with this problem? I'm like, no. They said, then you don't need that product. Second of all, when you are using, X product, how does it make your skin feel? And I'm like, well, the truth is it actually makes it feel kind of heavy, but I thought that was the moisturizing part of it. And they said, here's what's actually happening. So when I want you to say you need to focus on your client's success, what I mean is don't just sell the whole package because that's what you're told the clients need. Do some research and ask the client if they're willing to try it out with you. The truth is, most of us, especially when it's product-based business, and even more particularly if it's related to our health, wellness, skincare, things like that, we aren't necessarily going to go hook, line, and sinker into everything. We've heard it just too often. I mean, hello, ladies, put your hand up if you've been accosted at the mall by the people handing out the samples, right? So you want to focus on what is going to work for that client. And let me just say, before we jump into the strategy number 2, do what's best for your client always. Now, this sometimes landed me in, I'll say hot water in a way, in jobs that I've had before, because most of the jobs I had were sales-based, right? I mean, the truth is all of us are selling something all the time, but they were sales-based jobs. And obviously, as a salesperson, your job is to sell more, raise the profit margin, like you want to keep going. And to be honest, I don't know where I picked it up from, other than to say I hated being sold something that I didn't need, being, pushed into something that was like the Aston Martin level when all I needed was like a Ford, right? Like I didn't need to have the most exclusive because it just wasn't what I was looking for. So when from very early on, pretty much as soon as I started ever working in sales, I was always focused on what the client actually needs. And I can't tell you how many times. So here's a perfect example. I go into Staples a few weeks ago. I'm having issues with my computer and I'm having issues with all the tech. And I'm just like, this needs to work. I'm in the middle of a big launch. It needs to work. So I go in determined that I'm going to buy an external hard drive and a new airport router, Wi-Fi thing, whatever. Anyway, for my Wi-Fi, I speak to one of their tech people because I'm like, here's a problem I'm having. Here's what I think I need to buy. Which ones do I need to buy? In 15 minutes, the salesperson said, so you don't need this. Here's a problem that's happening. All you need to do is this on your computer, and that should make a big difference in terms of how fast it's running. Okay, so now I didn't need to buy this external hard drive. Boom, done. Then the next question was related to the airport, so the Wi-Fi, the thing that actually sends my internet out into our house. And he explained, look, the truth is most of the time it's not the technology, it's the service provider, or it's whatever. So he's like, the technology hasn't changed that much, and if your product is like 3 years old, then it's more than capable of handling the amount of bandwidth that's coming through from the service provider. So in 15 minutes, I had gone in determined, pretty much knowing, okay, I'm probably going to spend like $300 in the store today, and it's a bit of a stretch, but I need this stuff. I need to make things work. And I left without spending a dime. And I said to the guy, I feel like I need to buy you a cookie or something, because I so appreciate what you said to me, and I feel bad for not buying anything. So that, to me, that is the mark of someone who really cares about their client's success, because they basically sent me out the store without buying anything. And you might have been thinking, well, Amy, why don't you buy some office supplies? Because I didn't need any. I just stocked up not that long ago, so I was good. But the good thing about it was, because he was honest, because he addressed exactly what I was asking about and basically said, you don't need these things. Here's how you can solve it without spending money. You can bet your ass I'll be back there every single time to go get things. There's a reason that I'm loyal to this particular Staples, not just because it's 3 minutes from my house, but because their service is fantastic. So when you think about your clients, and like I said, especially product-based businesses, but service-based businesses, this is for you as well. You got to focus on their success. What's going to work for them? Meet them where they're at, and don't oversell them stuff that they don't need. All right? Okay. I get really passionate about this because I see it happen far too often. So, profit strategy number 1 is focusing on your client's success. We've just talked about that. Strategy number 2 is this. Create packages to maximize your client's success. Here's what I mean. Each client has a unique end goal or desire that they want to achieve in working with you. For example, in my design business, each client that comes in, even if it's regardless of whether or not every client has a renovation, their outcome, their goal is going to be a little bit different because it's unique to that person. So when I talk about creating packages to maximize your client success, this is what I mean. Think about what this person is coming to you for. So if it's massage, this is a great, here, let's talk about to the masseuses in the audience. If someone's coming to you for a massage, with the rare exception of someone coming in and saying I got this gift certificate and I'm just, I just want to get the one service and I'm out of here. if they've come to you and they're looking for a regular massage therapist, they will have an end goal in mind. So maybe it's that they want to pamper themselves. Maybe it's that they are, they started a fairly intensive workout routine and their muscles are sore as heck. And so they want to come in for like a weekly or every 2 weeks for a massage to help their muscles like relax and grow and be able to like keep going into their fitness goal, right? It's important for you to find out what your client's end goal is. Product people, this is for you as well. We just talked about not overselling, and here's the beautiful thing. When you create a unique package for your client that is focused on them succeeding, you will build incredible trust with your clients, which will give you recurring clients and referrals. Hello, free marketing right there. So I want you to think about this. Think about the product or service that you're offering. When a person comes in asking for your help, dig into it. Find out, what do they really want? What are they really after? It's going to take some sleuthing on your part, but here's the beauty of it. When you start digging into it, you are opened up to an amazing world of how you can serve this client better, okay? So you're going to find out what it is that they really want. Then you're going to create a package using the services or products that you have on offer to create the outcome that they want. So we'll go back to our masseuse because the idea is the example's already in my head. So let's say that, I'm just going to use a name here, Lily comes in and says, I want to have, once a month, I want to pamper myself with a really fantastic massage. I don't want to come here every week. I just want to come here once a month. It's what I can afford, whatever. Most places, probably all places, I can't say that I'm in, massage parlors or whatever that often, but most places will just say, okay, great. They'll book you for the appointment. When you finish, they'll ask when you want to book the next one. Yeah? You just pay for the one and away you go. Here's the thing. Lily she's gone for a massage and it was pretty good. It wasn't like crazy stellar. She didn't really connect with the therapist or anything like that, but she was fine with it. She was satisfied. She's at a party on Saturday, 2 weeks later. The experience is now, disappearing in the back of her mind. And to her, it was just a massage. It wasn't really anything that was stellar or stood out. So now she meets someone who, did massage for the Olympic athletes when they came through, however many years ago, or that she's done massages for really famous people or what have you. And all of a sudden there's this star quality to this massage therapist that they've just met. And they're like, I really want to work with this person. Even if the massage itself is basically the same, there's an alluringness that is around this other person. They will likely take their dollars and go to this person. So we're not about competing here, and it's not about saying like, no, I don't want this to happen. I want to trap them. But here's how the first massage therapist could have made this like incredible connection with Lily in the first place. Lily says, I want to pamper myself once a month. The massage therapist goes, great. What does that look like for you? Now, when you say pamper yourself, like, what does that mean? Is it just a matter of having some time to yourself? Is it just a matter of feeling a bit more relaxed? Like, what does that look like? This is where you dig into it. Then Lily says, here's the thing. I have 18 kids. They're driving me crazy. Like, my husband's at work all the time to try to like clothe us and house us and feed us. And I just need some me time. And it's not so much about like the massage, but I think this is a great way that I can just like shut off, do something that's all about me, and just, spend an hour where that's all I'm focused on is just me. So here's what you could do. You could say, you know what, Lily, I totally get you. This is what you could do, what I can do for you. I know you want to come here once a month. I also know that things come up and sometimes finances get tight, or sometimes you forget to book an appointment, or like things are just going to get crazy. So if you can put together a package for her and say, let's look at 6 months. In 6 months from now, what would be really awesome for you if it came about in your life? Whatever that is. And then figure out how your services could help her with that. And you might be going like, Amy, this doesn't make any sense. But let's say in 6 months, she's got a wedding to go to and she wants to look banging in her dress, right? Like, I mean, hello, what woman on the planet doesn't want to look really good when we go somewhere? So you're thinking, how does that have anything to do with massage? Well, so you're giving her once a month, she's coming in to see you to get that me time, which means she'll be more relaxed. B, you have set her up to say, okay, you want to go to this wedding, you want to look really good. I understand that means you're going to be going to the gym. So let's work out so that we can do these massages so that you feel, rested, rejuvenated, relaxed. The wedding is on, August 26th. So let's see you on the 24th so that you can just chill out and then, book your appointments back from there. C, if she's going, thinking that I'm traveling and we're going away doing this, or my husband's work is up and down, so I don't know if I can afford this month to month, or whatever that's going to look like, offer them a package and basically say, look, so basically in 6 months you have this really cool thing happening, you want to look really good, and if we're looking right now, let's do a package deal for 6 massages and I'll give you a 7th one for free or whatever. Or I'll sell you, let's do a package for 6 massages that are an hour long. And the last 2 massages before the wedding, we're going to do an hour and a half at no extra cost, right? All of a sudden, Lily feels heard. She feels like you get what she's after. And even though you're thinking, well, this is just massage, how is this going to help her look banging in her dress at the wedding? That's about, eating right and going to the gym. Massage is all about, dealing with I don't want to say dealing with your body, but processing things through your body, right? Allowing your muscles to relax, allowing knots to get worked out. If you're like me, the massage therapist could spend 2 hours just on my back alone. It's pulling those things out, right? I mean, I don't have to tell you, massage therapists, do you know what's going on? So set her up for success. And here's the beautiful thing. You've created this beautiful package for her that specifically addresses her desires, her end game. So when she's at the party on Saturday and she's talking with this, massage therapist who's had all these, bigwig clients or worked with these Olympic athletes, whatever, all of a sudden they might be thinking, wow, that'd be really cool. But you know what? I felt really heard at this other place and I'm really stoked. We've put together this package that's going to be just really fantastic for me. Boom. You might be thinking, well, Amy, that didn't create a new client. If you think it didn't create a new client, you need to give your head a shake. Because if there was no package, if she was just coming in one at a time and she meets this new person, sorry, see you later, she's gone to the new person. You now have a client at least for the next 6 months. And then when it's nearing the end of that, you can talk with her again about, what does it look going forward? All right. So create a package to maximize your client's success. Product-based businesses. I know you're thinking Amy, you just told us not to do the 5 steps or whatever it is, to be focused on the client's needs. Yes, be focused on the client's needs. So I had a really cool conversation about 3 months back with a woman who sells, it's health supplements, some kind of health supplements. I didn't get into it too much because I was actually doing some research on a product that I was launching, but I wanted to know a bit about her business and a bit about what she was doing. And so I asked, about how does she structure her day and what does her business look like? And she said, well, I have these health supplements and I also do some coaching. So I said, well, how does the 2 of them work together? She's like, well, I do this free session and basically we do an assessment of where they're at and what their goals are. And then I suggest supplements for them. And then from there, I offer them we can do, monthly coaching or whatever that looks like. And I just let them decide however much they want or when that's going to look like. So I suggested to her this idea of creating a package that is focused on the client's end goal. I said, if this person wanted to have lose 30 pounds or whatever it was, you know that it's about more than just simply having the supplement. Or if they wanted to create a healthier body because they just feel like they're not getting the nutrition that they need, you know it's not just about the intake, it's also about like, what are you doing for inner work? You got to clear some of that shit out. Am I right? So if you could now all of a sudden say to this client, you know what, let's put together this really cool program for you. Here's what the program would entail. Your end goal is this. So to get you here, then let's look at, these products that will get you there. And a lot of products I know have sort of a building up. Like you have the starter package, which is where most people, they're like, well, they'll get the starter package and then they'll just love it. And then they don't ever do anything else. Right? Like they have this $50 starter package, which, gets you some results, but over the long term doesn't get you continued results, because the truth is you needed to upgrade to like the gold level package, and you're not offering it to them and they're not asking because they've stopped seeing results. Right? So you want to focus on what it is that they actually want, and then say, okay, here's your end goal. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the starter-based package. This is the Kickstarter, or cleans out your guts or whatever it does. Here's your Kickstarter. When that finishes, this is what's going to happen. Be totally freaking honest with them. You're probably going to plateau because your body's already, it's now topped up, it's whatever. Like, let them know. Be clear about what's going to happen. Don't fearmonger here. Let me just say, don't be like, forewarning them, but then just say, okay, I know you want to get to your goal. So this starter package is going to get you going in the right direction. Then because I want to continue to see you succeed, here's how we're going to do this. So the next level is to add this into your life or into your diet or whatever. And to make sure that you are most likely to reach that end goal, I'm proposing this series of coaching services. So once a week, whatever, once a month, we're going to meet. This is how it will break down. We'll do your measurements. We'll talk about, what have you been enjoying so far? What isn't working? Where are you feeling challenged? And how can I serve you in that? Now, if that end goal is 6 months from now, you create this entire package. And here's the deal. With one price. Don't break it out. Like if they ask you to break it out, it'll be a case-by-case thing. But when I create packages for my clients, I do not break out what's happening in there. Because the truth is, I know what it takes for me to deliver the deliverables, is what I call them. So if I start breaking it out and saying, well, I've accounted for a couple of hours here, and I think this will take a couple of hours, all of a sudden, and I've seen this happen, and let me just tell you, I think the last time I ever went down this road, I ended up in front of a judge trying to get paid. So I promise you, it's not worth it. If they don't see the value in it or whatever, then don't break it out. Usually it's just like, this is how it works. Which might sound to you like we're not focused on their success, but the truth is you are focused on their success. You just don't want them to start taking key things out. If I was building a house and I'm like, okay, so you said it's going to be $50,000 for the framing of this house. So what if I only put in every other stud because I want to take off some money off the house? I'm only going to put in every other stud. So now instead of 16 inches on center, you have 32 inches on center. Let me tell you, you can't build a house like that. You know that, but the client maybe doesn't know that, right? So they've now taken that out, which maybe saves them $2,000. Okay. So now instead of $50,000, we're at $48,000. Okay, well, the truth is, in my mind, I made up a number that I want to only spend $45,000. So I'm going to take out $3,000. How can I do that? I'm going to take out the front step. Like I don't want the front step. We're just going to take that out. Boom. There's $3,000 saved. In the meantime, you're going, your house is going to fall down. And how are you going to get in? Like, are you putting a springboard out front? Right? You know how it all works together. So it's your responsibility to be able to let the client know that when they start pulling things out, they are limiting their chances of success. It's not about packing as much in there as possible. You need to be very specific about what will work for that client and then be very specific about how you build it. Yeah? The last part of that is to be extremely clear about the deliverables. This is what I mean. When I put together packages for my clients in my design business, if it's a materials package is a perfect example. So when I do a material selections package, meaning let's say they're redoing their kitchen, and all they've hired me to do is to help select all the colors, the materials, the handles, whatever, and someone else is doing the work. They don't need a design plan. They don't need any of those things. I list out exactly what they're going to get. I'm going to select for you kitchen handles, kitchen knobs, your faucet, your soap pump, your sink, your island sink, your countertops. If we're doing two kinds of countertops, there will be two types of countertops: the cabinet door style, the cabinet color, the backsplash tile, the flooring, it goes on and on and on. But I'm extremely specific, and I list every item that they've asked me to select. And I'm very clear. If it's not in the list, I'm not providing it for you. Now that means one of two things. If there's something that you forgot that you're like, oh shoot, I actually want you to help me with this, then I also say, if you need more help, you're more than welcome to, and here's the hourly rate to do that. Or if they want me to revise the package before they finish it, before they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, then I can do that before. But I'm extremely clear about what they get. So when it comes to our example of the health, the supplements with the coach, be extremely clear. You're going to get this starter package at this point. It's going to take you X number of time to get through. In that, 30 days, I am going to meet with you twice for 60 minutes at whatever location. If you're meeting with them in person, be very specific. If they're meeting you at your place, or if you're meeting them at their place, or if you're meeting them at the gym, just say, this is where we're going to meet. In the second month or the second and third month, you're going to get these products. Here's how you're going to use them. It doesn't have to be crazy in depth in that point. And I'm going to meet with you X number of times for X number of length in this location. Let them know. People want to know what they're spending their money on, right? I feel like it's so obvious, and yet so many people don't do it. They're just like, well, they just need to trust me. Why? Why would they trust you when they don't know you? And even if they do know you, I know a lot of people who will not hire friends purely because they've seen too often that friendships go sideways from one person hiring a friend, and things, whether the person that got hired under-delivered, overpromised, under-delivered, or whether the person who's doing the hiring turned into a total nightmare. I know this happens often. Now, I'm very blessed that I have amazing friends, and a number of them have hired me to help with their home. When I work with those friends, even though they're friends, I treat them as I would any other client. Because at the end of the day, their hard-earned money is still their hard-earned money. I don't expect anything more or less from them, and they better sure as heck not expect anything more or less from me. Because at that point, we're in a business exchange, right? So you gotta be clear, and remember, there is no specific reason that they have to trust you. It's your job to build it. Okay? All right. So, profit strategy number 1, focus on your client success. Strategy number 2, create packages to maximize your client's success. You might notice there's a recurring theme of focusing on your client success. Powerful profit strategy number 3 is this. Pay extra close attention. Make the decision easy. I feel a little bit like I'm on a soapbox. Let me just calm myself down here for a second. You want to make the decision easy for your client, right? So at this point, you have been super focused on your client's success. You've been asking the questions, digging into what is it that they really want, what is it that they really need. So now you need to make the decision to work with you easy. You've already set the stage, guys. At this point, you've done pretty much everything you need to. You've dug into it. You've created a package that is tailor-made for that client to get them to the goal that they want. And you've been super clear, like crystal Voss water kind of clear about exactly what they're getting, what the service offering is, how long it is, whatever that looks like. You've been very, very clear about it. So now the last step is to just make the decision easy. Here's how you do it. Give them payment terms. It sounds so freaking ridiculously easy that you're like, well, that can't be it. That's basically it. You're basically saying to them, I got you, I heard you, I understand where you're going, I've put this whole thing together for you because it's going to get you to the goal. Here's the cost. This is the value exchange part, right? So this is where you're asking them to give you their hard-earned money in exchange for getting to this goal that they want. It's an exchange. Don't ever think about it as only a one-way thing. It's always an exchange. They're giving you something in order to receive this other thing, yeah? So when I do packages for my clients, this is something that, now I mentioned earlier, sitting in front of a judge going, oh my God, I can't believe I literally couldn't believe I was sitting in front of a judge explaining why I needed to get paid. It was so beyond me that would happen. And it happened in my first year of business. And I'm just like, how did this happen? So here's the deal. The great thing is, it was a terrible experience, but it gave me the most powerful strategy for my business ever. And it did this beautiful job of basically taking the emotion out of the business for me so that I could now look at clients rather than thinking like everybody's going to be amazing. I know I had a reference. Sorry, it took me a second to think about that. A reference for a job one time. And of course, I don't know what the questions are, but one of them was something like, what would you say is her biggest downfall? And my reference said, I think the truth is her biggest downfall is the fact that she always thinks that everybody else will do and serve and be as good as she is. And they just don't. So she's often let down because people don't show up. And that's totally true. That's exactly how I feel, where I'm just like, anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when you're giving payment terms, you want to make it very clear and very easy for them to decide to work with you. So here's how I do this with clients. We've gone through everything, right? I've focused on their success. I've created a package that's specific to their outcome, that is specific on what they need, want, desire, and how to get us there. Now, I understand their budget. This is a great question. It's not part of the profit strategies here, but it is a good thing for you to ask. If you're uncomfortable talking about money, listen to the last episode. It's all about money. But here's the thing. Nobody wants to talk about money, but everybody needs money, and you're asking your client to part with their money. So the best thing that you can do for yourself and for your client is to be respectful of what you both need and just ask, what's your budget? And if they're unwilling to get this, and I get this a lot, trust me, I get this a lot. People like, I don't know, I haven't thought about it. I just want to feel at a price. I'm not sure. Everybody has a number, and I'm explicitly clear. I had a client a couple months ago doing this big kitchen renovation, and they refused. They kept doing the dance around giving me a budget. And I finally said to them, I said, look, here's the deal. I can't give you great advice or any kind of proper direction unless I know how much you're investing in this project. And that might seem it might seem so obvious to you, but you would be dumbfounded at the number of times this comes up. And I'm not talking about people, you might be like, oh, well, maybe they just don't get it. Maybe they don't, no, these are freaking smart people. These are people who run their own business or are, high up in management levels, that they're so uncomfortable to talk about money. But it must be obvious to you, I'm sure, that if I don't have a budget, how do I understand what to show you for your kitchen, right? Are we doing a $20,000 kitchen or a $100,000 kitchen? Because I promise you, they look different and we can do both, but I'm not going to go running around trying to put together a $100,000 kitchen for you when you got 20 grand to spend. Yeah? So be real and be honest with your clients and say, look, I want to give you the very best value for the money that you're spending. So let me know what amount are you thinking of investing in this. It will also give you an idea of how serious and committed they are. If they're like, I only want to put in $50 a month, then you know that at that point, all right, back to our health supplements person. If $50 a month is their budget and there's nothing wrong with that, then you say, great, for $50 a month, this is what it's going to look like for you. But if you're willing to think a little bit fuller, because I know that that's going to get you some results, but not necessarily the full results. Let me just show you, if we even bumped up that budget to $75 a month, what I can do for you, right? You want to focus on them. So then when I talked earlier about giving them a package price, here's the deal. You've gone through all the work, figuring out what they want. You've put together this beautiful tailor-made package for them. You're making the decision easy by saying, here is the price. This is it. I will give you all of these things. I'll get you the supplements. I'll get you the coaching. I'll make sure that you stay on track. I'll make sure that, like, if I need to, I kick your butt to get you in the gym or whatever it looks like. Here's the price for that package. And then here's the thing. Do not ask for it all at once. We've all heard stories where someone, came in, promised the world and the stars, and then said, okay, it's going to be, $10,000. You need to pay me up front and then I'll get started. And then they pay the $10,000 and, the sleazy business person buggers the F off and boom, there's your 10 grand. So I offer my clients payment terms. I call it splitting the risk. And the way that I do it is that I take a payment up front because I'm not about working for free. So I take a payment up front. It's a portion of the full price of the package that I've offered them. That payment up front, basically that goes all the way through. And then I take the final payment, the remainder, at the end. And I'm very clear about what they get, right? We talked about being clear about the deliverables. So I say, when you get this, 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 and this, and this, and we've come to an agreement that that's what you want, then you owe me the rest. And the beautiful thing is that splitting the cost, splitting the risk is the biggest trust building factor you could ever do for your clients. You're giving them immense value. You are allowing them the opportunity to say, yes, I really want this goal. I really want to get there. I believe in myself that I'm going to get there. And then you give them the joy of being able to say, yes, here's my money. And I know that it's going to work out because I'm only paying you part of it and I pay you the rest when I see that result, right? And it doesn't have to be, for me, it's always partial up front and then the rest at the end. If you're doing like a 6-month thing, like if you're the coaching health supplements person and you're doing a 6-month thing, then let's say for 6 months it's $1,000, you could break it out into 4 payments. It doesn't have to be, one payment now and one payment at the end. You can break it out into 4 payments. The program that I just launched, which by the way, the doors are still open. You got just a couple of days left to get your butt on in there. I offer a full pay because it's a program. It's an online program. And I offer a 3-pay. So basically I say, look, if you're all in, first of all, I'm going to reward you a little extra because I have this really powerful bonus for you if you're all in. But if you can't do it, if it's too big of a swallow, I got you. I understand. So I'll break it out for you. Pay it in 3 payments. If it's 6 months, pay it in 4 payments. Whatever it is, be very clear about what those payments are so they understand their responsibility, but now you've made the decision easy. Could you see how, let's say it was a $6,000 package and they might be going, holy crap, I can't afford $6,000, but you say, look, why don't we do it in 4 payments or in 6 payments? All of a sudden it makes it easier for them. And the cool thing is you have recurring revenue, baby. So, all right. I hope you've had some fantastic value out of this. I intended this to be a bit of a shorter podcast, and we're not. I can see on my recording that we're like about 45 minutes. So I'm just going to real quick review. Your 3 powerful profit strategies are this. Number 1, focus on your client's success. Always, 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 it's about your client's success. Number 2, create packages to maximize your client's success. Remember, you got to do some sleuthing, figure out what they really want, and then give them the clearest, most easy to action package to get them there. Think outside the box, guys. Like, this is really big stuff. Number 3 is to make the decision easy. The beauty of having created the package is that you have a price specifically for that package, and now you can give them payment terms. You're building trust. You're giving them something in return, and you've given them the joy of being able to say, yeah, not only do I want this result, I know that I can afford it. Gotcha? Okay. Above all, the key in everything here, guys, is to serve your client's success. It is always about their success. It is never about your bottom line. I don't know how much more clear I can make that. It is always, always, always about your client's success. Product-based businesses pay extra close attention. It is always about your client's success. Stop focusing on needing to get more sales, needing to sell more of X product. If it ain't serving your customer, you're doing them an enormous disservice by selling it to them. Build trust, show them that you get what they're about, and give them what they need, not what you need to get rid of. Okay? I hope this has been really powerful for you guys. Like I said, there's a few days left to join the program. So I'm going to talk real quick. I have the Lost to Launched program. If you loved what we talked about in today's podcast, you get a full training on this. You'll get swipe files of mine. This is how I create packages for my clients. This is how I put them forward. There's a lot of beautiful in-depth things in there that I just don't talk about in this podcast. The whole program is intended to take you from wherever you are right now, barely started a business, thinking about a business, struggling to start a business, have a business for a while, ain't seeing the profits, whatever that you want, takes you from the very beginning through to putting in amazing strategies, tools, and systems to be able to get your business growing and making money. So the program is called Lost to Launched Academy. Here's the deal. It's only open for a couple more days, and then I'm closing down registration until the fall. So if you want to join, get your butt over to daretobegin.net/join. There are 2 payment options, right? Setting you up for success, baby, making the decision easy. You can do a full pay, double check the bonuses. There's a really cool bonus for the full pay. You can do a 3 pay. So now we're splitting the cost out. I want to meet you where you're at. I want to make the decision mega easy for you. And I know this program is like ridiculously powerful. So go ahead, join me in the program if it feels right for you. If it doesn't, hey, ain't no shame in the game. Just make sure that you come back, listen to the podcast, and let me just say real quick, if you like this, please, put a little review. If you're listening to this on iTunes, I know I'm terrible at it because I'm not on iTunes, but if you're on iTunes, leave me a review. And if you're not, then baby, just share it out. I would love for this to get out to more people. And I'm so grateful for those of you who are listening. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I wish you a fantastic rest of the week. One more time, if you're ready to join the program, if you're ready to say yes to your success and to finally get your business going, get your butt over to daretobegin.net/join. All right, friends, I'm wishing you an amazing rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.